Hello and welcome to the Werx series of how-to instructional model building videos. We here at Werx strive to bring you the best information and techniques to help you get the most out of your model building experience. We will show you how the pros build models step by step so you can easily follow along. Most of the techniques you will see are very easy to learn and simple to accomplish. So sit back and let us show you the tricks and secrets to building your miniature masterpiece. Okay, I've got a little technique I'm going to show you here, and I know there's a lot of people on YouTube that have put a tutorial on this similar to this, but I wanted to show you how I was doing it. I did it a little different than most people. Basically, this is a brush cleaning demo, and I have a ton of brushes, as most modelers have been in the hobby for a while have. You can see I've got these plus a couple other cans of brushes. Now I've got them divided into fine brushes, fine tip brushes, and brushes that I used for weathering, which are usually the ones that have had their day and they're really not worth much. I usually don't throw them away, I just keep them unless they're really trashed. But one thing I wanted to show you is, again, how I reconstitute the brushes and get them ready to be reused again. So the first thing I'm going to do, gone through most of these, I just decided to go through every one of them and clean them out and sort them out, get rid of the ones that were no good, and put the ones in the weathering cup that were substandard that wouldn't really reconstitute. Kind of show you, these are all my ones for weathering, so you can see where they kind of go into the pit, but are still pretty useful. And move some stuff around here, it's getting a little tight. Okay, so anyways, the fine brushes, this is what I'm doing. It doesn't matter whether it is a natural brush, synthetic, mix. Generally the better brushes will hold a point longer, but there's a lot of these that were in packs where they were like $2 a piece or less in assortment packs. So there are a lot of good cheap brushes out there, so you just have to know how to select what you have and take care of them. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some lacquer thinner. This just happens to be, to me, a lacquer thinner. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a brush that needs cleaning, and I'm going to put it in the lacquer thinner, swish it around a little bit, and then just wipe off what I can. I don't soak it in lacquer thinner because the lacquer thinner can eventually loosen the glues that hold the bristles in, which is not a good thing. So as you, I don't know if you can see it, but a little bit of paint is coming off. Do this a few times so it softens the paint, and then I can work some of the gunk out. Okay. Once I'm done with that, what I'm going to do is wipe it clean and wipe it dry. It doesn't take much to dry a brush out because it'll wick out. Then I'm going to use this stuff here. This is a brush cleaner that a lot of people talk about, professional artists and so forth do, as well as model builders. It's called the Master Brush Cleaner and Preserver. It's basically like a saddle soap. Little different. Anyways, you can kind of see how messy it is in there from cleaning some of my other brushes. So what I'm going to do, and this is a lifetime supply, honestly, especially for modelers. So I'm going to take a little paper towel and I'm just going to wipe off the surface and get rid of all that junk that's on the surface. Doesn't waste any of this stuff, but that way I have clean working surface. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the brush and I'm going to dip it in some warm water, get a little dish over, and I'm going to pick up a bit of the water and I'm going to make a little puddle. And then I'm just going to swish this around and see if I can get a little closer for you. Let's see. Yeah, okay. So what it's going to do is, what you'll start seeing and what you'll start noticing is little chunks are like that right there. Chunks come out. and it's pretty surprising. There's another one, and another one, and another one. A lot of them are in the ferrule up here, so they'll just start wicking out, and the soap will actually pull it out and start conditioning the bristles. So I'm going to do this quite a few times, depending on how much junk comes out of it. And you know, there's the brush look clean, but look at that. That's just, I mean, that's just crazy. There's just all kinds of junk coming out of this thing. So basically, I'm going to keep working that, and then I'll wipe it off on a paper towel just to get some of the soap off of it. And again, it's starting to look cleaner on the bristles itself, but I never thought there would be that much junk in there. There goes another chunk of whatever it is. And I've used these paints with enamels and water-based and lacquers and all kinds of stuff back and forth. I don't keep a set of brushes specifically for lacquers or specifically for water-based. It's not a bad idea. I mean, if you have a set for each, might give the brushes a little more life. But with cleaning them like this, you really can go between the different materials. A lot of the water-based paints are actually acrylic lacquers, so you're actually dealing with the same idea of paint. Look at that, 1, 2, 3 little whatevers coming out of the brush. So I'm going to keep doing this again and again until I get it to the point where there's not much gunk coming out of the brush. Now, if I had paint on the ferrule here, a lot of times, even though it's just for looks, but I don't like stuff when I put in thinner and it'll melt down, thin the paint out and get into the bristles. I'll scrape the ferrule. Most of them are chrome plated, nickel plated, easy to scrape off. Then I'll wipe them down with a little lacquer thinner to get them looking brand new. So, and putting a lot of water in here helps flow the gunk out. And then if you get too much, you don't have a place to clean, just wipe it out again. Okay. See how much more little materials there goes. I mean, it is amazing what comes out of your brush. Okay, I've just about got this brush clean. Hitting it with a little more water. Every so often a little chunk will come out, but it's not like it was. I mean, you can kind of see that on the video here. But look at all that stuff that came out of a brush that was really looking pretty clean to begin with. So, the next step I'm going to do, let's wipe this down on a paper towel here. Zoom out a little bit here for you. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is, I've got the brush clean, I've got all the gunk out of the ferrule, so it's holding a pretty good point when it's wet, so I'm not going to put this in the junk bin. I'm going to keep this as a good brush, and this, like I said, is one of the cheapest ones. So what I'm going to do is wipe this out, all that gunk for the next time. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in this stuff. What this stuff is it is a sort of a conditioner which works like a hair gel, believe it or not. And what it's going to do, this is by Abteilung, sold through AK, I do believe still. And what it does is it's going to coat the brush and seal it while it's in storage. So again, like hair gel does, it's just going to coat it in here. It's going to make it stiff, but it will hold the point while it's in storage, and it will keep anything from happening to the bristles. So it's kind of, if you've ever soldered, it's kind of like tinning a solder iron where you're coating it with the stuff to protect it. And this stuff is kind of gooey, looks kind of like masking fluid, and real gel-like. So what I'm going to do, let's get you a little closer here. Okay. And I'm just going to dip the tip end down to the ferrule. I'm not going to go past the ferrule. Or if I do, just a little bit. And I'm going to get enough on there. Sometimes you have to swish it around to break the surface and get it on there. Then what I'm going to do is just roll it in the paper towel to re-establish the point, and then, still keeping the gel on it, I'm going to store it like that. Now when I'm going to use it, again, it'll be stiff. All you have to do is put it in some water, swish it around, the gel dissolves and disappears, doesn't affect your paint or paintbrush, and it brings it back to a soft tipped bristle, and you're ready to paint. You're ready to start all over again. So that's pretty much how to keep a brush in good shape. You can spend money on expensive brushes, but that does not mean they're great brushes. Always go to your art store, your hobby store, and examine the brushes. Make sure that they have a fine tip on them. Maybe put a little spit on your fingers and smooth them in the store just to make sure, see what kind of tip they carry. Sometimes people like curved tips or flat tips, things like that. Now if you have a brush that is just really gunked up, first of all, you're like me, I have some old ones, and you're a pig about it. So you just left it to dry, you didn't bother really cleaning it out, or you clean it out as best you can and didn't spend a lot of time on it. So what I'm going to do with this one is I've got this little contraption here. Okay. And what this does, holds your brush upright, and you can actually put a cleaning fluid that takes a long time to really soak the junk out. And for this I'm using the Abteilung Magic Potion for brushes. Not real fast acting, but it does the job eventually. I'll usually put them in here overnight. And what I do is I just don't want to fill this whole thing because that's going to cost a lot of money. So I just put a little color cup down here for the bristles to sit in, and they will soak up into the bristles up here. So you don't really have to have this whole thing filled. And I'll leave it overnight, and then when I'm ready, I'll just clean it off. And the bristles should have softened with this material. You can see a lot of stuff is coming off. So I will, after I get the bristles soft, I'll go through the cleaning procedure. Use the lacquer thinner first, clean as much as I can. White brushes are tough with lacquer thinner because it's hard to get it in the bottle, so you have to put it in a cup like this. Lacquer it, clean it, wet it, and use the Masters brush cleaner. And then these, you don't have to use the preserver as much because most of these don't really need it, but it will, you don't have to keep the tip basically, but it will keep it in good shape if you can just brush it in there and goop the outside to protect it. So I'm going to put this one back here because it needs just a little more work. Let it go overnight, and I hope this helped in brush cleaning, and give it a try. It's easy to do, and once you have the materials, you generally don't have to ever buy them again because they're a lifetime supply. So, thanks for watching.